Excellent. All right. Welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for participating in the chat, letting us know where you're calling in from. We've got Florida, Michigan, Maryland, New Jersey, California, Wisconsin, Ohio, Louisiana, Serbia, Germany, Wakanda, Sydney, Minnesota. That's where I'm from, Minneapolis area. Awesome. Pennsylvania, Nottingham, Maine, Nottingham, Chicago, Canada, and on, Jamaica, Australia. Welcome everyone to the call. Thanks for being with us. Prit, where are you calling in from?
I'm from the UK, so I'm a little bit just outside of London. I'm sure you can all tell from the accent.
Yep. Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much for being with us. And because of the time difference, that's why we're doing this at it's 10 a.m. my time here in the US. So normally we do it in the evening, kind of when people are home from work, etc. But we're doing this one a little bit earlier to accommodate. So hopefully anybody else who's international is able to join in. Anybody else who's working is able to listen in or listen to the recording. So yeah, that all being said, let's go ahead and get started. So just by way of introduction, if you haven't seen Prit in the Discord, he's all over the place. Even before he was hired as a success coach, which, by the way, congrats, Prit. You've been hired. I think it's been, 2 weeks now that you've been a success coach?
Yeah, 2 weeks now. Thank you. Yeah, it's been a pleasure to join the team.
Yeah, awesome. And we loved having you. And one of the reasons why we were so excited when we saw your application come through is because we've seen you in the Discord, sharing your results, helping other members, just being super helpful in the community. And so if you haven't seen Prit, he's all over the farmers chat. And even more so now that he's a success coach, he might even be your coach, in which case you're very lucky to have him. He is an 11 times funded trader. Prop firm trader. He was funded $1 million at one point, and then he lost it all. And he learned from that. And now he's currently on sort of like phase 2 of his prop farming journey, which I think is really interesting how he's kind of got 2 phases of his prop farming journey. One that was, getting funded $1 million. You wouldn't say that's unsuccessful by any means, but he's done even better in the second phase. And he's now currently funded $550,000 with $750,000 in phase 2s. So, probably will be funded over $1 million here very soon, and hasn't lost a challenge or funded account since. Am I right in saying that, Prit?
Yeah, that's correct. Ever since I lost $1 million and I started again, I haven't lost an account.
That's awesome. And how long has that been since then?
So that's only been around a month and a half, I'd say.
Yeah,
it hasn't been too long, but so I actually switched from weekly strategies to daily strategies. That's what kind of switched out for me.
Gotcha. And we're going to get into all those specifics here very shortly. But yeah, I mean, month and a half, that's a lot of challenges. I mean, that's, to be in, funded 550K and then 750K pending. I mean, you've taken a lot of challenges over that time. Not to have failed a single one, that's quite impressive. So, and then to date, you said you've realized only 35K in withdrawals, which I think anybody here would say that's still very successful, especially considering you've only spent, you said, around $5,000 in challenge fees. So net profitable over $30,000 and counting. But yeah, we'll hear from you too as to why you say only 35,000. Yeah, so that all being said, anything else I'm missing as far as introduction goes? Anything else you'd like to add to that?
No, that's pretty much it. I think that sums up my journey pretty well.
Okay, perfect. Well, really excited to have you and for everyone here to have the opportunity to learn from you and your experience, because everybody's journey, everybody's experience is unique. So, some people come into trading completely new, come into Blue Edge and prop firming completely new to trading, completely new to Forex. Other people have experience, different levels of experience. Some people start with Blue Edge and they just are off and running and super successful. Other people, it's more of a learning curve, all these different kind of journeys. And so, it'll be really good to hear coming from you, and especially what adjustments you made from that kind of first phase of your journey to the second one, and why you feel like you've been more successful so far in this second phase. So that being said, let's first just touch on your background. And if you could just kind of explain for everybody here why you got involved in trading in the first place, And then, how did you find Blue Edge?
Sure. So around 3 years ago, I believe it was, I just discovered Forex. I think one of my friends was doing it or something like that. So I kind of got into it, obviously manual trading. I'd done it for a year, I had all the typical sort of trader experiences, blew some accounts, never really became consistently profitable, etc. So yeah, after that first year, I kind of took a break and I went to do some other things. So actually, I'd done NFT trading after that. And so what I'd done was within 5 months, I believe it was 5, 6 months, I went from 1 ETH to 100 ETH, which is pretty crazy. So yeah, after that, it kind of taught me a lot about controlling my emotions and, not really worrying about the money, just trusting the sort of data and the analysis that I've done. So I thought, since I made a load of money, I'm working for myself. I have some time before I may have to get another job or some sort of income. So I thought I'd give Forex trade another go, since my psychology was a lot better this time.
Right.
So I started giving it a go, and then I was actually a little bit better this time. To be fair, I was a bit more consistent, but I realized it would probably take 6 to 12 months to become, a consistently profitable trader if I'm doing it manually. And I just didn't want to risk that time of not getting any income. So I kind of thought of this idea of using EAs to pass prop firm challenges and then get payouts and stuff like that,
Yeah.
kind of like the exact same sort of prop farming thing we do.
Yeah.
Um, so I was looking through like the EA marketplaces, and I was trying to find EAs that made, 10% a month or more with a minimal drawdown so I could pass these challenges. And kind of like a week after looking into that and doing research on that and back testing and stuff, I found you guys on YouTube, and I was completely blown away because you guys had the exact same idea as what I was planning to do, but you
Yeah.
had all these tools and features and like an EA built like exactly around prop firms, exactly how I'd want to do it. So I just bought into the program, and I was just blown away by how amazing the tools are. Like MTP, for example, that saved me so much time because I was doing that manually before, back testing each month to see how well it was doing. So yeah, ever since I joined the prop BEF, I've just been using Titan. I haven't used any other EAs because Titan's so much better than all the other EAs for prop firms, because they don't really have like fixed risk management, different entries,
Yeah.
different sort of, lot sizes and things like that you can customize. So yeah, I just stuck with Titan, and ever since then it's been great.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. And I actually I wasn't sure on this. How long have you been actually a member at Blue Edge? When did you start?
Um, since January, so seven
Okay.
months ago. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. Wow. So I probably should have led with that. It's only 7 months and you've been funded 11 times. You've been funded over $1 million. You've made, over $30,000 in payouts, all of this stuff. That's really amazing. Um, so yeah, and glad to hear that feedback on the program, and that it's been, everything that you've looked for and that you were looking for and more. And we'll continue to make it better. And so, yeah, great to hear. And so I guess, that being said, could you maybe like walk us through your experience from when you first joined Blue Edge to now, and kind of how have you like matured as a prop farmer?
Sure. So when I first joined, it was a lot different. I mean, we didn't have daily strategies. The version of a bot was a lot older. We didn't have as much features and things like that. And it was kind of, I think it was around the time where you just started to get like the really high win rate strategies. So it was all kind of new at the time. So I would say the first month or two,
Yeah.
just because it was a weekly strategy, and maybe bad conditions and me manually intervening, I failed a few challenges in by not following the plan. And eventually I did get my first funded account.
Yeah.
And again, I kind of made a little mistake. I hit EP twice in a row, and then I changed the strategy,
Yeah.
and then lost the account. And if I didn't change the strategy, I would have made all my money back. So I lost my first funded account. And then after that, I kind of buckled down, and because I had made the mistakes of manually intervening, I realized, okay, maybe I should just leave it now, because I saw firsthand that if you do intervene, it does ruin things. So after that, I just started doing a challenge a week. That really helped me, especially because I was using weeklies, so it's quite slow sometimes. So
Yeah.
starting a challenge every week was really good. I eventually actually changed my strategy a little bit at that point, because I was seeing going for 8% each week. It was a little inconsistent. You can have your winning streaks, but then you could have a losing streak as well, because it's going for such a high amount in one go.
Yep.
So I actually made my own strategy that went for 4% weekly instead.
Mhm.
And from the back test results, I saw this was a lot more consistent and there was a lot less fails. So I swapped to that. And then I started like 100K, 200K accounts once a week until I got that million in funding. Um, and then I just went for 2% on all the accounts. I got that payout, got my challenge feedback. And then again, I made the same mistake. As I hit a couple EPs after that in a row, I switched the strategy, to try and correct it. And again, I lost the account. To be
Yeah.
fair, that time I probably would have lost the account anyway, because I only had I think like 1 or 2% left. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, I lost the accounts. And then after that, dailies were a lot more popular and they were a lot better by this point, because that had been out for a while and a lot of people had been optimizing for them, and the leaderboard was a lot better for dailies than when it was at the time that I was doing my challenges. So I kind of switched over to that just because I realized weeklies is exactly the same principle as dailies, but it's just drawn out on a weekly basis, so it takes a lot longer. It is more consistent, but it just takes a lot longer. So for me, because I had already made huge profits from the first round of funding, I thought I might as well just use them profits and put them into daily accounts and just speed up the process.
Yeah.
Um, and at this point, because I had lost 1 million in funding, I was kind of numb to losing accounts, so I didn't really care if one week
Yeah.
I lost, but then the next 2 weeks I would win and make all my money back anyway. So yeah,
Right.
I kind of just switched to dailies from weeklies, and ever since then, yeah, I haven't lost an account, and I got all them accounts that we just talked about earlier.
Yeah. 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 That's amazing. That's really interesting. A couple interesting things from what you said. One is the tendency to manually intervene, and how it kind of took some time for you to really trust the system, trust the strategies, trust the back testing and data, right? Like, I think a lot of people come in here and, have a similar tendency of just like, it's all so new. It's really hard to trust from the get-go, especially when you see losses, like, specifically EP hits, right? You're like, this, and maybe that's a result of over leveraging, where you're like, I really want to save this challenge. Like, you haven't really accepted the risk of, I'm going to lose some challenges, I'm going to win some, but as long as I just keep going and I'm consistent at it, in the end, it's all gonna shake out profitable. And so I think that's really good that you shared that, and that's something that I think a lot of people can relate to. Whereas, they would just be a lot better off just coming in, trusting the strategy, trusting the data, understanding how to think in terms of probabilities, right? And just, we always give that flipping coin example where you could get tails where you fail a challenge 5 times in a row. It's possible, right? You could also get heads 5 times in a row. And, usually it's somewhere in between of, you might go on a losing streak, a winning streak, whatever. But you just keep flipping that coin. And at the end of the day, as long as you do that consistently and you don't stop flipping, then you can be profitable. So yeah, I think that's really good that you shared that. Also interesting how you found a lot more consistency in your results since switching to daily, and how you figured that it's pretty much just the same process but faster, which makes a lot of sense. So yeah, that's interesting. And then yeah, and then you touched on manual intervention too. Again, just kind of going back to all that of just trusting the system. So I also wanted to ask you, so you said you kind of dedicated yourself to taking consistent 100Ks, and you did that once per week. Are you basically just like, are you continuing to do that, just starting a new 100K each week? Is that basically your plan and what you're sticking to?
So with dailies, just because you can start them every day, I actually take 2 challenges a week.
Okay.
So based off my back testing, what I'd done was I tested starting every Monday, starting every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, etc. And I
Yeah.
saw that the two best days to start were Monday and Thursday for
Yeah.
my specific strategy. So
Yes.
what I do is I start a challenge on a Monday and a Thursday.
Yeah.
I'd noticed this was really good because if on Monday the challenge hits EP 3 days in a row, let's say,
Yeah.
and then the one that started on Thursday, it typically normally passes on that Thursday or Friday.
Yes.
So, and then obviously the one I started on Monday would then pass on like a Friday or something. So it was really nice that I got sort of two passes in the same week by starting them on different days. I think
Yes.
that was what really sped up the amount of accounts I could pass and how fast I can get back to funded accounts.
Something else too I really like about taking challenges consistently, because I do the same thing. I'll take usually 2 a week, sometimes more, sometimes only one, but that's about what I'm doing as well. I think when you're taking challenges consistently, we have this acronym in the community, ABP. It's kind of like always be closing, but it's P for planting, so always be planting, right? If you're into sales at all, but yeah, just consistently taking challenges that really, I think, forces you to just get in the habit of trusting the system, thinking in terms of probabilities, accepting the risk. And it really makes things easier as you start to get momentum, because if you lose a challenge, it's no big deal. You have one, right behind it to take its place, or you lose a funded account, you've got one next up in the queue. You're just always consistently passing challenges and taking payouts. And if one fails here or there, whatever, it's not a problem, because again, you've got one to replace it. So yeah, that's cool. So let's get into your strategy, specifically, kind of some of the specific details about your strategy, your approach. So first, I want to ask you, how do you choose a strategy? What's the most important criteria that you look for?
Sure. So I always make my own custom strategies just because I like to be really unique. So and because I do the 4% instead of the 8% sometimes, I have to make a custom strategy for that 4%. So typically what I do is I optimize and then I pick the best results that have like the highest pass rate first. So let's say I tested 40 like 20 files.
Mhm.
And I would pick like the top three that have the highest pass rates.
Mhm.
Um,
Sorry.
typically that.
So are you getting like kind of your initial strategy off of the leaderboard, and then from there you're
Yeah,
optimizing?
yeah. So a couple months ago, I pulled off whatever the highest daily strategy was at the time.
Yeah.
I kind of looked at two or three and then picked one that was like the best pass rate or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and then from there, I I essentially keep the same moving averages just because that's the entry, and then what I change is like the PB, the FB, whatever
Yeah.
it is, and then I would change the lot size and the lot multiplier, and then EP as well if I'm doing a 4% strategy.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. And by the way, guys, I see some questions coming in. We're going to do Q&A at the very end. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in there. We'll go back and try to cover them all, but we'll also have some time for Q&A at the end. Yeah. Okay, gotcha. So you basically, a few months ago, you just picked one strategy from the leaderboard, and then you optimized it, changing the lot size, multiplier, the profit basket goal, the equity protector amount, and then you're targeting 4%, right?
Yeah.
Is that for challenges and post-funded, or just for challenges?
So what I done for all of my phase ones this time around, I done the full 8%.
Uh-huh.
And then when I got to phase two and funded, that's when I changed my 4% strategy just because it's a little bit safer.
Gotcha.
Um, yeah, so that's
Higher pass
typically
rate,
what I do. Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. Mhm.
Higher pass rate. Okay, gotcha. Cool. And then so you're optimizing, changing those things, and then you kind of find the best one. You're looking for 100% pass rate, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Over the last 12 weeks or longer than that?
So for my dailies, I do from the start of January to
Yep.
the current date, so the last 7 months basically.
Uh-huh.
Just because I noticed, and this is just common sense as well. The longer you test over,
Yeah.
the higher probability it is of working longer term,
Yeah.
essentially. So yeah, I try to test as long as I can, just because it just makes the strategy a lot more reliable.
Yep. Yep. So, okay. So you're optimizing for 7 months and you're looking for that 100% pass rate. Um, Gotcha. Okay. And then how do you know when it's time to switch strategies? Like, you know, obviously like are you continuing to optimize after an equity protector hit or after a fail, or like how do you know when it's time to switch?
So with my weeklies, it was actually something I noticed. I used to re-optimize after like 2 EPs in a row, if I had 2 in a row.
Yeah.
And then I'd re-optimize and then change my strategy if I found something better.
Yeah.
And I noticed with that, I was kind of not letting my strategy play out and fix itself, because there's been plenty of times that he's hit equity protector twice and then come back in the past.
Yeah.
I was just getting a little bit scared, and then I'd re-optimize and change it, and it would kind of ruin things.
Yeah.
So now I don't re-optimize until I would get a fail,
Yeah.
and if I re-optimize and I rectified that fail with the re-optimized strategy, I would only run that strategy on half my accounts, is what I'm planning to do, and let the original strategy play out as well on the other half, just
Right.
because I don't want to sort of ruin the flow of the strategy.
Right.
It
Right.
hasn't happened yet with the daily, so I haven't tested it out yet, but that's my plan of what I'm going to do.
Yeah, that makes sense. So if you happen to fail a strategy, or plan is you're going to, because you haven't hit that yet because you haven't failed a strategy
Yeah.
doing this,
Yeah.
or failed challenges doing this. But if you happen to, your plan is to then re-optimize it and use the re-optimized version of the strategy with that now 100% pass rate again on half of your accounts, and then the other half just continue letting it run with the same strategy.
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha. And just kind of see which one does better.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. If it keeps failing, then obviously I'll just use the re-optimized one. If it doesn't, then I'll carry on just doing half and half.
Gotcha. For optimization, do you use the MTP optimizer, or do you use the optimizer in MT5, or both?
So because of my optimizations, I do quite a bit together, like the FB start, stop,
Yep.
equity protector, lot size multiplier. I do like thousands in one go, so I have to use the MT5 strategy tester.
Yep.
And then from there, I just pick the top 10 results and just test them in MTP basically, and just see which one's the best.
Top 10 results optimized for profit or drawdown, or
So I pick the top 5 profit, and then I kind of sieve through them myself and just see the ones with like, something with low drawdowns that still have very high profit.
the
Um,
best ratios.
yeah, exactly. Typically the ones with the lower drawdowns with slightly less profits are the 100% ones. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Um, Another question for you. If an account gets close to failing, do you let it run, or do you have a strategy to recover the account?
So it depends. So in the phase 1, I'll just let it run. On the phase 2, typically, so my 4% strategy risk 2%.
Yep.
So if it's 1% or under until I lose the account, I would just scale the strategy back by half,
Uh-huh.
and then run that. Just because then I have the whole EP on that last go rather than half the EP.
Uh-huh.
I just noticed that typically works better for bringing back an account than just letting it fail. But that's literally only if I have 1% or less left. I don't
Gotcha.
change it otherwise.
Sorry, can you say that again? When do you decide that it's time to scale the account?
So if I have 1% or less to
Okay.
until I blow the account.
Basically, in other words, you don't have enough room for another EP hit.
Yeah, exactly.
Since your EP is 2%, but you only have 1% left in the account, then
Yeah,
it's time to scale down to fit what you have left in the account.
exactly. Yeah.
You cut it, you just cut the settings by half, basically.
Yeah, lot size and the FB and the EP and
Yep.
TP, of course.
All of those relevant settings. So I'm trying to think how to explain this for anybody who's not as familiar with that process. One thing you can do is when you pull up a strategy on the leaderboard, there's 100K option and there's a 50K option, and you can compare those and see which settings changed, on the 50K versus 100K, because the entries are all going to be the same, but it's the lot size that's going to change. It's going to be cut in half, and it's the profit basket goal that's going to be cut in half, and it's the EP amount that's going to be cut in half, and so those are the those are the settings that you want to change when you're scaling down or loading up a more conservative strategy, like Britt was saying. So yeah. Okay, great. Anything else you would say to describe your approach?
No, I wouldn't say I'm doing anything too special. I think the only thing different I'm doing is doing the 4% a day rather than 8%. Yeah, other than that, I just start 2 challenges a week. That's really helpful,
Yeah,
especially if your strategy is on the winning streak. It can get you a lot of profits and funded accounts really fast.
yeah,
I typically try to go for prop firms that have no minimum trading days now, like
yeah,
TFF's new one, just because you can get funded within a week rather than 2 weeks or something.
right.
That just lets your strategy, play out in the short term a little bit better.
Right.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm doing too much.
Yeah, cool. Well, thanks so much for sharing all that with us. I was trying to think. I thought I had another question for you. I don't remember. So, that all being said, from a psychological perspective, just kind of shifting gears here a little bit, wanted to ask you, like, what are some of the most important psychological principles that have helped you become a successful prop farmer?
Yeah, I think kind of working it out in your head, the calculations is a really good thing. That really helped me. So I work it out. If I'm going to take 3 challenges, let's say 100K challenges, that's $500 each, so $1,500. If I just pass one of them, and get a 4% payout on the first time and my challenge fee back, that covers the cost of like 5 to 6 challenges to go again.
Right.
So I kind of just think about in probabilities and numbers and just trust all the numbers in the data.
Yeah,
It's so much easier said than done, but I think once you witness it happen to you, after months of doing this, it really clicks in your head.
yeah,
Just to just take up challenges consistently. If you fail, you lose the front of the count. It doesn't matter. You make more money,
yeah,
on the next go anyway. Yeah, it's just, as you guys say, just think of it as like you're the casino. You're going to win in the end.
yeah.
You have an edge over everyone else. So yeah, it's just, I kind of just don't think about it. I just load the strategy, let it do its thing. I don't manually intervene anymore. Yeah, and just keep cycling the profits and the accounts basically.
Yeah, yeah. That's really, really good advice. One thing I wanted to ask you too was funded accounts. Are you basically like just trying to accumulate right now, or are you also trading your funded accounts? And if so, you're starting 2 challenges every week. Are you also starting 2 funded accounts each week, or 1 funded account, or how do you manage that?
Yeah, so at the moment, what I done was I just started a funded account every single day because I had them stacked up. I passed quite a lot at the same time. I think I passed like 3 at the same time. So I started one on Monday, one on Tuesday, and then one on Thursday, just because from a back testing, Wednesday was a bad day to start.
Yeah,
Well, a worst day anyway. So I kind of just like to, any phase 2 or funded accounts, I
yeah,
like to just stagger them out to start different days, just in case that one day I start on is a fail. I don't want to have 3 accounts running on that one day
yeah, makes
and all
sense.
fail exactly. But if the challenge is already running, then I'll keep it running. I don't try and stop it and stagger out the accounts. So if I have 5 accounts that are
Yeah,
running, I would just keep them running. It doesn't matter
gotcha.
that they're all at the same time for me.
Okay. So if you've got 5 phase 2s or 5 funded accounts pending,
Mhm.
that you just need to trade,
Yeah.
you have no problem just taking all 5 of those in the same week.
Yeah, exactly. So say my phase 2, that started on Monday, hit EP, then the one on Tuesday hit EP. I
Yeah,
would then start another one on Thursday still, and say that hit EP as well. I would still leave all 3 running into the next week or whatever.
yeah, yeah. Gotcha. Very interesting. All right, cool. Anything else, before we shift to Q&A here?
No, I think just my post-funded strategy. I think I saw a couple of people asking. So
Yeah.
what I do is on the first go, I just go for 4%. I get the payout, I get my challenge feedback, and then after that, because I'm risk-free and I'm in profits, what I do is I would go for 8%. So I'd go for my 4% first, and then I would reload Titan with a 4% higher TP and to reach that 8%, and then I'll
Yep.
get the payout from there.
Yep. Got it. Got it. Awesome. Okay, let's look at these questions here. Just see what else we've got. Some post-funded strategy, just covered that. How many different strategies do you run at the same time? That's a good question. Yeah, so all of these, that you talked about, you'll take 2 challenges per week. If you have 5 phase 2s pending, you'll take them all in the same week. If you have funded accounts, you'll take those in the same week as everything. So is that all riding on one strategy, just started on different days?
So I have my account split up between True Forex funds and 8-cap prop firms. So with 8-cap, I had to make a completely custom strategy that's different to my True Forex fund. So that's
So
technically
prop firms, what is that? Is that my Forex funds, true, the funded trader?
so yeah, so the funded trader and my funded FX.
And my fund. Okay.
Yeah, so they're both 8-caps. So that's a completely different strategy. It's roughly the same, but as in they use different MAs and stuff because it's a different broker.
Right.
So they're my 2 sort of different sets of strategies.
Okay.
But they all the brokers that I use run the same strategy. So all the TFF accounts would run the same strategy, and all the 8-cap accounts would run the same strategy.
Got it. Got it. Are your challenge and post funded the same strategies? So Brian, I guess different EP lot sizes. So you kind of just touched on that a little bit, but maybe you can just recap real fast.
Sure. So for my 4% strategy, it's 4% TP, 2% EP. So I'm going for 1 to 2 each time.
Same lot size.
Yeah, same lot size as well. Yeah. And for challenge and funded, I use the same strategy. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so it's same strategy, same lot sizes, same everything. You're just adjusting the account TP and the EP amount.
Oh no, sorry, I was just clarifying what my TP and EP was because someone asked.
Yeah.
So I'll keep everything the same.
Right.
Just go for 4%. I was just saying that my EP
Yeah.
for that 4% strategy is 2%.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense. Phase 2, use a 4% target, even though pass is 5%.
Oh, so this is something I mix up sometimes. So let's say I have 2 phase 2s that I'm starting in a week. I would make one of them go for the full 4%, and I'll do one going for 2.5%. I'll just change the TP. I wouldn't change the strategy, or I'll just change the TP to do 2.5% one day and 2.5% another day. And then the other account, I'll just go for 4% and then 1%, just to mix it up a little bit.
Gotcha. Okay. Team MTP stuck in a loop. I made sure DNL is, any other suggestions? Definitely reach out to the live chat support that can help you. Okay, Dan asks, for prop firms that have challenges with unlimited trading days, would you use 4% TP in phase 1 and then just repeat it until you pass?
I haven't done that yet. All the phase 1s I've done, I've just done 8% just to get it out of the way because I don't really care if I fail at phase 1.
Can you explain more about how you change your floating basket, profit basket, lot size, etc.?
Sure. Do you want me to share my screen? I can show you on the strategy test quickly.
Go ahead. Do I need to give you access?
No, all good. Can you see?
Yep.
Perfect. So what I would do is let me go back here. So I would test from the start of January, 9th of Monday to the current date. Slow complete algorithm, and then I would do the lot size. So when I'm making my own strategy, I do it in a big range. So I'd do like 0.8, starting from 0.8, and then I would go a little bit above whatever's on the leaderboard strategy that I downloaded. So this one's 2.7, so I'd go up to 3 or something like that, a little bit higher. And then I would do the same for lot multiplier. So I'd maybe just go from 1.2, 0.2 all the way up to like 3, just because I have this, I'm starting on the low lot size here. This way it just gets like a whole range of results for me that could be different, because if I'm going for 4%, it's not going to be the same as this 8% strategy all the way up at 2.7. It may be a little bit lower. That would be the best thing to go for 4%. Then I would go down.
Just to clarify
Sure.
on that, you're saying that you would actually use different lot size and lot size multiplier for your 4% target compared to your 8% target strategy?
Yeah, sorry, I probably should have explained this. So for my 8% strategy, it would be something similar to the leaderboard, for example. But then for my 4% strategy, I don't just make the TP 4%. I actually re-optimize and make a new strategy for 4%.
I gotcha.
So I'll show you a little bit down here. So after I did lot sizes, I would come down to the PB, and I'd make the PB goal, instead of going for 8%, I would go for 4% here. And then I would optimize these. So I'll do like 0, step up by 500 to, I don't know, something like 3,000, just a little bit about under the 4%. And I'll do that for the stop as well. Just because on the 4% strategy, you can actually create something a lot better than if you were going for the full 8%. So everything's very different from the leaderboard 8% strategy. So the lot size may be a lot lower, the lot multiplier may be a lot higher. The PB stop would be obviously a little bit lower. It wouldn't be at 5,000 because that's above the 4% target. So a lot could be different about it. And then the last thing I optimize at the same time is just the EP amount. So for this most daily strategies, there is 2.75%. I just lowered it down to 2% for my personal 4% strategy, just because I'm obviously going for half the TP. But I don't want to do half the EP because it would roughly just give me the same strategy as the 8%, but for like a 50k account essentially. So I try to keep the EP a little bit higher than half of whatever it is here. So I just pick 2% because that allows me 5 EPs in a row. And that's it. And then I would just run the optimization. As you see, there's like 9,000 things to test, so it does take a very long time. But then once you get all the results back, you just, like I said, I just test out the best ones, and then it gives me a strategy.
How long does that take usually to get 9,000 tests?
Quite a while. For me, it doesn't. It takes like a few days, yeah. But I have 64 cores on this server, so it's a lot faster than probably most people would do.
Okay. Is this a VPS?
Yeah.
64 core VPS that works well for you?
Yeah, it's a 32 core, but it's got 64 threads.
Okay, where do you get a VPS like that, and how much is it, if you don't mind me asking?
Sure, it's like $200 a month, and it's from I'll post this website around and serve some other people. Is Host.eco, I believe it's called, something like
that. Okay.
Host.eco, yeah.
Got it.
I can post a link later.
Cool.
Yeah, and this is what a 4% strategy may look like if you start from January. So 100% pass rate, and then these are all the averages.
Nice, very nice. And this is over, this is from January, like you said. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. 100% pass rate from. Now go back to some of those ongoings actually real quick.
Sure.
If you don't mind. So ongoing, so that's been, but yeah, not even that long. Never mind.
Wow. Yeah,
that's really good. Like that honestly opens my eyes to like what's possible. Like I didn't really think it would be possible to get like 100% pass rate, over that long of a period of time. But breaking the 4-minute mile, like you did it. So standard raised.
Yeah, I think CY Forex is always raising the bar with his 2% strategies as well. So
Now, Prit, I imagine for you, you have a lot easier times trusting your strategy because you've gone through the optimization yourself. You've gone through the back testing yourself. So you came, the data that you're trusting is your own rather than just pulling it off the leaderboard. I think that might be something that's underrated.
I think that's what is really good for some people. I notice other people doing the same. If you know your strategy inside out, you know exactly what all the settings do. It's so much easier to optimize, so much easier to trust. Just because you know every single thing about it, it is so much easier if you get to learn it. Just like anything in life.
Yep. Yep, for sure. All right. Any other questions that we may have missed? Somebody says, I've tried this and I never get 100% pass rate, only 79%. I'd really like to know how to get to 100% pass rate. Do you have any tips for someone? I mean, you shared it, but
yeah, I would say, mate, I'm not sure if you tried actually setting like the PB goal to 4% and then completely re-optimizing like I've done, just because that would take so long. I doubt many people have done that. So that's definitely something to do, because if you just lower an 8% strategy to 4%, it still gets some fails that it originally had, because it was just a bad time for that strategy. It doesn't actually change the way the strategy trades or anything. It just cuts the TP a little bit shorter.
right.
So if you truly want a 100% pass rate strategy, you typically have to optimize for a lower percent per day or per week,
Yep.
to achieve that.
Yep. Let's see. Someone. How did you get to know the settings that well?
Just through the EA inputs sheet and just the visual tester, the visual sort of back testing thing. I forgot what it was called, but I
Yep.
would just
Practice the visual.
yeah. So I just turn off a setting, see how it changes, turn it back on, see what it does, play around with the numbers, just basically just learn it. Just take the time to see what each thing does and learn it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been doing this full time for 7 months. So I had a lot of time to to play around with all this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. It's great now that you're a coach, you can help other people kind of learn.
Exactly.
Yeah. Can you elaborate on drawdown percentage you go for, because highest profit tends to be higher drawdown percentage? Yeah, I don't fully
Uh,
understand. I mean, I know that higher profit tends to be higher drawdown percentage. I would agree with that. Tends to, but I guess maybe you can be more specific in your question, John. Are there optimization trading videos on the Discord? Yes, John, there is. In fact, I could just share my screen here real quick. Where's my Discord? Aha. Okay. So we go here. If you go to the, I believe it's, okay, you can see my Discord, yeah?
yeah.
Okay. If you go to Titan EA, you go to strategy tester, there's all the tutorials on backtesting and optimization. So yeah, there you go. When you optimize that MT5 tester, do you just turn off TP so that it doesn't hit TP and stop?
I just add an extra 0 to it, so it just keeps running.
Yep. Adds an extra 0 to it, so it keeps running. Got it. When they asked you test an MT5 or an MTP, as you see that you're using MT5 tester. I know you touched on that, but maybe just real quick.
Sure. So I do my main optimization in MT5, and then from there I'd pick, like 5 of the highest profit settings and test that in MTP, and I'd probably pick like 5 that I just handpick myself that have like a lower drawdown but still a relatively higher profit nearer to the top profit ones. I typically find in either one of them two sets of files the best strategies there.
Yep. Do you leave positions open through high impact news?
Yep, I don't touch the bot. It's been back tested through news, so there's no need for me to turn it off during news.
I've been optimizing, but I keep getting fails on the same day or week. Do you recommend lowering TP and EP and testing options with that?
Yeah, you could try just lowering the TP from 8% to 4% and just doing 4% daily if you want something quick and easy. That should get rid of some fails and reduce your average EP. Or you can do what I explained earlier and actually re-optimize and make a custom strategy around that sort of 4%. I'd say they're the two easiest ways to get rid of fails and EPs.
How much income per month from each funded account is your goal?
So yeah, like I said, I'll go for 4% on the first payout. After that, I'll just go for the 8% as many times as possible. The second I'll get the 8%, I would request a payout, wait and request a payout, and then I'll carry on. So just as many as possible.
Yep. Yeah, right. Never continue trading after you've hit your profit target.
Exactly, yeah.
Don't want to risk all those profits to trying to make more.
Definitely not.
Where can I get in contact with you? So for that, I would say just in the farmers chat, right?
Yeah, just at me in there. I'm always replying to people, helping people out. I'm more than happy to answer questions in the farmers chat.
There you go. Just at him. Got a lot of screens over there, Joe. Yes, I do. When's possible?
Cyforex asks 8% TP is also 2% EP. So if it's my specific 8% strategy that I use on phase one, that's a 2.75% EP. And then on my 4% strategy is a 2% EP. But if I'm going for 8% with that 4% strategy, I would just set the TP at 4%, let that close all the trades, and then I'll just reload the strategy with just the 4% higher TP again.
Vanetta asked, when you go for 8% unfunded, are you using the 4% file twice?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. So to clarify that, it'll hit 4% and then you load it up and then go for another 4% after that?
Exactly, yeah.
Got it. I personally, I just have to say, I'd have a hard time with that. I feel
I know,
like,
yeah. I was going to say it is quite hard, but I only do it on 100K accounts. I don't do it on my 200 or 300K accounts. I only do 4% on them.
On their 300K accounts, you said?
Yeah, I would only go for 4% on them and then take a payout just because that's a lot of money on a 300K. On 100K, I'm more than fine just running it again for the extra 4%.
Cool. That makes sense. For me, like 4% on a fund on 100K is like $4,000, and I spent $500 to get it. So I'm just like,
exactly, yeah.
Risk the reward, like. But if you're taking bigger challenges, then I can see how, it's like whatever. I'll risk my 4K to make another 4K.
Yeah.
Funded accounts by going after 8% TP. Do you ever lose funded accounts? I mean, I would say, of course. But
I'm
yeah,
sure I'd lose the ones that I have now eventually. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all part of the game. And to understand that better, by the way, there's a channel inside Discord called Post Funded, and we kind of go over the data with that and why it's still advantageous to, go for those higher profit targets, even though you have a decently high chance of losing the account. So go through there and watch. And then that was actually an interview that I did with Cyforex, who hopefully we can get him back on here, but to go, in further detail of his strategy. But he does a more conservative, steady approach, and he hasn't ever lost a funded account. So, if that's kind of more of what you're interested in, you can also take that approach, and he goes through his process there in that training as well. Other than TFF, what other prop firms do you use? You said the funded trader.
Yeah, the funded trader and my funded FX. And I have one account with Smart Prop Trader as well.
Does my Forex funds also use ACAP?
No, they use that's my funded FX. My Forex funds use their own broker.
Okay. To this date, I still have never taken a my Forex funds challenge. Believe it or not.
True Forex funds is good enough, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's just easy for me to keep it all in one place and just
Yeah.
on one broker's data. And yeah. Is there a way that Pritt can do a class on MTP or backtesting? That'd be cool. Is there any way,
Sure.
Pritt?
Sure. Yeah, I don't mind. I could even just record a video and share it, whatever you guys want, whatever's easiest. I don't mind.
That'd be cool. It'd be cool to maybe do it on like a webinar format where people can ask questions, as you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, that'd be cool to be fair.
Set something up for that. Okay, we'll just do a few more questions here and we're gonna wrap it up. Really appreciate Pritt being on here. Want to respect his time. You go for 4% the second time. Do you move TP up to 108K and then leave the rest the same? Yes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You use weeklies or dailies or both for funded for challenges and funded accounts? Only dailies, right?
Only dailies, yeah.
No. Holy cow, there's so many questions. I just realized. Okay, we're wrapping this up. I have 32 more. We only changed the PB target. Okay. So some of these have actually already been covered. And so this is all recorded. So don't worry, you can go back, you can watch, you can rewatch. Like if you miss something that's just kind of, too fast or whatever, kind of over your head, maybe, then you can just go back and rewatch it and it'll make sense. I know for me, there's, there's a couple points where I want to go back and rewatch as well. Okay. It's being recorded. Tax stuff. You got to talk to your tax person. Pritt, what version do you use? Okay, what version of Titan-X do you use, Pritt?
So I use 21.48 just because that's what I create my strategies on and I know all the bugs around it. But actually recently when I became a coach, I tested it on the newest version and it was exactly the same, and I live tested it on one of my accounts. So it makes no difference. It's just whatever you prefer, to be honest.
Yeah.
For me personally.
I loves 21.48. Cool. All right. We'll post this as soon as possible. Later today, probably. So, okay, I think we'll leave it at that. So thanks so much, Pritt, again, for being on the call. Thanks everybody for joining us and participating. If you found value in this and appreciated this and want us to continue doing these with other traders as well, just drop a comment in the webinar chat. Let us know. Awesome. Perfect. So a lot of thank yous, a lot of very helpfuls, a lot of gratitude. So thank you, Pritt, so much again for taking the time. And
no problem. No problem. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And we'll see you in the Discord.
Sure, I'll see everyone later.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks everyone.
Thanks everyone. Bye.
Bye.